Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Chef Yusuf Show, where you learn to cook the Islamic way. I'm gonna go ahead and chop the mint. By the way, when it comes to the mint, I'm gonna leave a little bit for garnishing. And when it comes to mint, guys, I'll show you an easy way to cut this. You roll them up like this, and you roll them like a cigar. You know. Since we're talking about cigarettes and cigars, guys, if the time of Maghrib comes and the first thing you do is you go outside and you smoke a cigarette, then all I have to tell you, brother or sister, that you really have to free yourself. And the only way to free yourself is to become a servant of Allah. So if you cannot free yourself from these habits, then you should really think about, quitting smoking and quitting these bad habits. So now let's talk about the i'tikaf. I'm not talking about the i'tikaf that happens in the masjid. I'm talking about the i'tikaf that happens in the kitchen. A lot of time, unfortunately, our mothers and sisters and our wife, they spend so much time in the kitchen preparing food, and we shouldn't put the blame on them. We should put the blame, some of it, on the brothers who demands these type of exotic foods that they want to have. Or sometimes the brother, he becomes too verbal about the food he eats. So the wife makes sure she spends the time from Dhuhr all the way to Maghrib in the front of the stove, hot stoves, making and preparing food. So the brother will be satisfied, or she is afraid that he will complain. And after that she has to do the kitchen, and she has to clean and do all of the kitchen work. And after that we do think that they have time to go and pray Tarawih. And even if they had time, they will be very tired and very exhausted. So what we need to do is we have to follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ, if he see a food that he disliked, he never talked bad against it. And also, guys, subhanAllah, like when we invite people, we tend to create so much food and we put so much burden on our sisters and mothers, and we keep eating and we keep staying at the house until the time of Taraweeh. The time of Taraweeh will go and the men will go and pray, and the sister is stuck at home, cleaning everything after the men. So as you can see, I mostly chopped everything that is required, and everything else will become an optional as your taste. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cucumber and chop it. I'm going to use this much. I'm going to talk about, when you eat too much, it goes against a lot of things in Islam. So for example, if you eat too much and you go to the masjid and people are praying, you disturb them by burping, and we all know the hadith that talks about, if you eat garlic and onions, you should not show up at the masjid to bother the musalliyin, the people who pray. So this is another bad thing that happens when we eat too much. Okay. One more point I want to talk about is the doctors tell us that the brain usually takes the brain 20 minutes to realize that our stomach has that amount of food in it. So when you were eating one day, and if you received a phone call, for example, you go answer the phone call and you're speaking, and when you come back to the table, you feel that you don't have the desire to eat that much. So the problem is that we eat so fast, and then after 20 minutes we realize it, our brain realize it, and that time will be like an inch away from exploding. So what happens that we go to the doctor and we ask him for medicine, digestion medicine, Beano, whatever gas that we have. And some other good habits that we should do, that we should walk actually after we eat, to a point that just walk to the kitchen and just do the dishes. That is good. That is some of the doctors tell us that walking a little bit will allow our digestive system to work better. Okay, so I did chop the cucumbers. They are English cucumbers, by the way. I do prefer them over the other cucumbers that has wax on the skin. If you have those cucumbers, you can go ahead and peel them, or you can use the Persian cucumbers, which is the most favorite and the best to use with this salad. So I am putting everything together, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the seasoning, which I forgot to mention at the beginning. Seasonings are olive oil, salt and pepper, and lemon, of course. We did mention that in the early on. So technically now we are done with chopping, so I'm going to go ahead and mix everything in. So to continue with my talk, so the meal of the day and the chef special become the main aspect of Ramadan. And of course, I'm talking, I am Chef Yusuf, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't cook or shouldn't eat, but what I'm saying is we should do it in a moderation and don't lose the benefits. We don't lose the benefit and wasting all the time and get in the way of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal as He should be worshipped. Okay, so what are some of the things that we learned? We learned that we have to thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who gave us this blessing, and we always want to teach our kids the value of the food, and to know like how many poor people are starving outside. And also we want to teach our wives and not to demand, not to put too much pressures on our wives to create these fancy dishes and meals. Now regarding oil, I usually eyeball it. I don't know, I think it should be somewhere around 1/4 of a cup. But you put as much as you demand, and of course the most two important ingredient is the lemon juice and the bulgur. And my message for the brothers is, brothers, you have to go ahead and sacrifice and not to demand these types of food. So go ahead and sacrifice, and tabbouleh will be inshallah enough. And it will be easy to make. It will not take too much time, and you will have the most benefit in the time of Taraweeh and the prayers, inshallah. We did present a plate for presentation, and the only thing is with the Romano lettuce. We'll go ahead and get the large pieces, and if you do have the circle type of lettuce, you can just cut it in half, and that will be like your serving bowl if you want to be creative. And also I like to choose these middles, the small ones, for garnishing. So inshallah we'll close with the dua. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, Allah make us moderate, and the way we spend and the way we eat in Ramadan, and Allah strengthen us and give us the ability to worship you the way it's designed for us to worship you in this month of Ramadan. All praises to Allah, whose reward is everlasting. Alhamdulillah, who guide us to the truth and legislated fasting. Upon His messenger we ask His salah and praises, and we ask to remain steadfasting until the day of the ghashiyah, the day of overwhelming, the end of the days, the day of warning. And thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
The world.